Hey guys, James here today and welcome back to another Sims 4 room build. Today we're doing the kitchen in the mansion that I'm building for my season's Let's Play household. If you haven't seen the other videos in this series where we built the exterior, we did all the landscaping, we did the floor plan and layout, then make sure to check those out. I'll link the playlist on screen and down below. I've just put them in a playlist to make it a bit easier because this is a really different way that I've been doing the house build for this. Just because it took me so long, I actually just cannot put this in one video, and a lot of you guys said you wanted to see it in room build form, so that is basically how we're doing it. Today is obviously the kitchen, like I already mentioned, as the title suggests. And I mentioned in the floor plan video that this is going to be kind of a hub of the household, and we have a lot of doors in this room. We have about 4 entries, so obviously we can come from the foyer to the right hand side now at the moment, where the big gap in the wall is, or to the dining room through that archway, or there's a door into the garage off to the right, and then there's a door to the outside, which I haven't actually put in yet. That'll go in soon. So basically what that means is there's so many different ways that you can come through this room, so we still need it to be fairly open and flow really well, and we also need it to be a functional kitchen. So what I did is I'm using this bay window area as like the breakfast table, because obviously you want to sit where there's a lot of light, because that's just so much nicer than sitting back in a corner somewhere with no windows. So we put the table right there. Also, it fits the nice like circular nature of the table as well. I think I actually I think I use a smaller table because those larger ones are a little bit buggy, as we found out in my previous Let's Play, if there's a plate there and someone's sitting there, I think you can't clean up or something. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, I think I changed that table. But yeah, so and also it's too big. So yeah, we put the table there, and then you can see I've done the counters on opposite walls, and I think, I don't know if I assume there's a term for it, but in kitchens, it's like the kitchen, I don't know, like triangle or something they call it, because you have the fridge and the stove almost in line with each other, usually. Not quite side by side, but in line with each other. Then you have the sink on the opposite side, so it's like creates a nice little triangle that you can sort of work with. And I think that's the order of it. Look, I'm no expert, but I think that is how it's supposed to go. Either way, that's what I've done. I've done the sink right there by the window looking outside, so you can do the washing up looking out the window. Should be quite nice. And then I also put that bay window in, I think, or the bay window seating. I think we used those bay window seats in a lot of areas of this house, which you'll see as we go through all the room builds, because I mean, this is like the perfect place for them. It fits so well in there. Also, it's just a really nice place to sit down, hang out, maybe just like read something. It'd be really, really nice. So we did a small dining table. Obviously this house has more than 4 Sims in it, but this is like, I don't think we've ever really had all our Sims eat breakfast at the same time. And if they do, we do have a dining room off to the left-hand side, which we'll be building in another video. So that's no problem at all. But yeah, this is all about the kitchen. And I wanted to make it feel as realistic as possible, as lived in as possible, without it like being an issue, like an issue in gameplay. Like, one thing that can be really annoying is if there's just a lot of items in your way, like visually, like it can just block the view, which can be really annoying. And the other thing is if there's items literally just blocking the path of your Sims. So I was trying to do a good balance between like clutter and functionality to make it still usable. So I always like to do like a table in the middle of a kitchen because first of all, that happens quite a lot, especially in more country-style homes. You'd use like a table as an additional bench area. So that's why I'm using that in the middle. Also because island counters are much bulkier and way, way larger. So if we were to use an island counter in the middle, it would have to be facing one way or the other because we definitely couldn't do them back to back. There's just not enough room for that. So I like to use a table instead of using the island counters. And it also allows us to do some fun stuff with it, which you'll see in a little bit when we start detailing it and doing a few more things. I'm able to put a bunch of stuff underneath it and sort of decorate it. I'm doing a few tricks here with move objects. You can see that I'm sort of moving the plants around in places that they normally wouldn't be out of place. I do have a tutorial on that kind of stuff on my channel. I'm not sure what it's called, but if I remember, I'll link it down below. Because it's basically a way that you can place any item on top of any surface, or anywhere on any surface. So instead of being stuck to the slots that are already there, like where it sort of snaps into place, you can sort of fine tune it a little bit more, and it gives you a bit more flexibility. Now, I do have a bin there underneath the table at the end. That is where the kitchen bin is. I'm not actually 100% sure if that's functional yet because we haven't gotten to gameplay. But if it isn't, it's easy enough to just slide out of the table and sort of have it stick out a bit more. So that shouldn't really be an issue to move it around or anything like that. Now I do have this, I love that corner piece with the plates on it, but it didn't fit anywhere here, so I made sure to put it in the dining room for later. You might have also noticed underneath the table, I did do the sort of seasons decoration box where you can sort of put up decorations for holidays and all that. Now I believe that should work. No problem. Again, it's one of those things I'll have to test, but I think because it's an item where they don't actually have to walk up to it, because you just click on it and then stuff happens. So it should be fine there. So I thought it was just a nice little thing to have underneath. It almost looks like little storage tubs. Well, actually, that's what it is. But like storage tubs that you would have in the kitchen with like a few things in it, which I thought was quite cool. And then so above the stove, we got... I was trying to keep... I didn't want to do anything too modern in this house because this house is not supposed to be modern. It's not supposed to be super old either. It's supposed to be, I guess, maybe updated. Maybe not even updated. Maybe slightly like, I guess, renovated lightly, maybe in the early 2000s or something like that. So it's more modern. Because it obviously definitely has like this sort of open plan area, just at least here in the living space. Like we haven't opened it all the way up to the living room because that'd be way too open. Now above, so I didn't want to do another cabinet here because we could have done a cabinet above the stove and had the range hood below that, but I thought this looked a little bit more visually interesting to have a shelf, and then I'm using move objects to place stuff up the top. Look, people also did point out because I obviously live streamed this entire build, people did point out like, yeah, you've got like books and paper above the stove, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Realistically, it's probably a really bad place to have anything anyway, because the amount of grease that would just be out there would be pretty bad. But it's also The Sims, so it looks kind of nice. so I was just like, yeah, I mean, like, because other than that, I was like, there's not much that could go there. Otherwise, we'd just do another cabinet there. I always love the look of an interior brick wall, but I was like, you know what? For this house, it doesn't really make sense to do the interior walls of brick because it's not supposed to be some sort of industrial build. Now, I think that's the first time I've sort of used these tiles right here, at least in this color, because I was like, you know what? I kind of like it. It's different. It still gives us a nice splashback behind the kitchen bench, and we get this sort of really nice pastel pinks and blues in there, a little bit of peach, I guess. And it's something a bit different. And I think it fits the house as well. Like it's not just a standard white tile or a standard gray slate tile. And that was the other thing. Like I said, I'm not trying to make this just a contemporary styled house. Obviously, there are some contemporary elements, but not a lot. And as I mentioned in the previous videos as well, the family that is living here is kind of quirky. Kind of quirky, not fully quirky. So we're having a bit of fun with some of the colors, but we're not going crazy, if that makes sense. But then, of course, we've got some fun sort of little decorative plates up here that the kids may have painted when they're a bit younger. So, like, it's that kind of more lived-in vibe rather than just someone's put decorations up there to look nice. That was the thing I didn't want this. I didn't want this to look like a show home, which Sims houses, if you're building them to look brand new, and because it's The Sims, they always look pristine. So then you end up with this show home vibe, which is fine if that's what you're going for, which most of the time I'm fine with. I don't mind at all. But in this particular case, because this is about the Let's Play, it's about the story, it's about the family, they're not neat freaks. They're definitely not, because we hired a maid in the Let's Play series anyway, and the house is messy all the time. So I didn't want the house to ever feel like a show home. I wanted to always feel like it's been lived in, there's stuff everywhere. So that's why we just have like those teacups on that little stand there. We have some spoons out. We've got a little spice box over there. There's a few things on the middle table as well. Like there's just little items here and there that have maybe been left out, moved around, all that kind of stuff. Now, I also put the microwave sort of built into that cabinet. It does intersect a little bit, but at the same time, if I didn't tell you that, you'd probably be like, oh, that looks fine. So we're suspending a little bit of belief there and pretending that the shelf doesn't go through the microwave at all. And then, so I was just trying to do some lighting in here because I didn't want to just go for straight up down lights, because obviously I use those flat saucer lights as just standard lighting so we can see what everything looks like when it's fully lit and all that. But then after I've done that, then I like to do sort of more stylized lighting, more delicate lighting around the place. So that's why we have the sort of 3 down lights over the table, because I thought that was a little bit nicer, because that's almost a little bit of a contemporary element over that table in the center of the kitchen. Then this table over here also has the 3 lights, but they're a little bit older. I think they look maybe like they've been there a little bit longer. And then just on the side here, because we got this big blank wall at the back, we got to do something, and I wanted to make it look like it is, again, a little bit lived in. It's not pristine, but we did do a nice picture up there. So it is quite a nice little painting up there on the wall. Might even change that to a family portrait at some point. That was a little sneak preview of the garage, which we'll be doing in a video coming up shortly as well. But of course, if you do want to watch any of these in real time, all the full live stream is over on my Twitch channel, or you can find them on my website, jamesturner.yt/VODs, VODS. And they're all in there. So if you want to watch this in real time and me figuring it out, then you can, by all means, feel free to do so. And here is what the finished kitchen looks like. This is everything. So yeah, like I just wanted to make it feel like it was a family kitchen. It's not completely pristine, but it still should be usable, and it should be something that will be fun to play in. Also put a couple of lights there above the windows. I don't know if you saw that in the actual time lapse, but that just provided enough light for the room. So it's just something that feels a little bit different than my standard kitchen. And that was also what I was trying to do. I wanted this house to be not like every other build of mine. And I think I was able to achieve that this time around. But yeah, that is the kitchen. You can actually download this as a separate room on the gallery. I have uploaded it there, or you can download the entire house with this room in it. I'll try and leave all the links and all that kind of stuff down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, what you would have done differently, such as like in the last video, how you guys were like, I don't like this hallway, which is fine. You would have done that differently. I mean, I could change this if I wanted to, but it's a bit late now. And also the reason for this hallway was because I wanted to keep the room sizes fairly even and also fairly large. Like I could have cut out here and maybe added a bit more floor to get a double wide hallway, but it means that we wouldn't have the built-in wardrobe for this room, or I guess we could have taken away from the bathroom, but I wanted a large family bathroom. Also, gameplay-wise, Sims don't really have any trouble trying to get through there. Look, it is definitely pretty thin, but that's just the way that it is. Anyway, that's the kitchen, not the hallway. That's the kitchen. But thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time, and have an awesome day.